Hello, I'm Karen Palizak, founder of Quiet Mountain Wellness and author of It's Time for a U-Turn. Today's second installment will cover chapters 2, 3, and 4. If you haven't yet listened to the introduction and chapter 1, the link has been provided for you in the description of this video if you would like to listen to that first. All right, so let's begin. Chapter 2, starting on the path. And our contemplation statement for this chapter is this: with a new direction, a new world awaits. Again, take a moment just to close your eyes and just allow that to settle into your system. With a new direction, a new world awaits. And feel free to stop the recording if you'd like a little more time. Otherwise, Chapter 2, starting on the path. As you read on, you will find 5 foundational areas which are paramount when it comes to creating opportunities to exert self-honoring choices on the partnership of body and mind. They are: nourish it, stretch it, empty it, still it, and heal it. You don't necessarily have to start with the first area and work your way through in chronological order. As you read through each one, notice how you feel and whether 1 or maybe 2 speak to you. If nothing clear jumps out, I suggest you take a few moments and use the tool you will soon learn about, which I call SALT. And it's an acronym for this: stop, ask, listen, and trust. Once you use SALT, then go with the one area that you are being guided to try. It is not necessary nor recommended for you to do all 5 areas at the same time. When you use the power and value of baby steps, that is, small, consistent, honorable, positive steps taken towards automation, you release more of your inner resources. Set yourself up for success. Make changes when you already feel positive and build on your little successes. This is so important. When you get started on developing honor consciousness and choosing with self-honor, it is a great idea to take action when you already feel confident or happy. Why? Because when you are in a good mood, feeling positive and energized, the quality of your choices will be greater. They will be empowered with a higher vibration of energy. When you think of vibration, think about the difference in how you feel in body and mind when you feel mad or sad compared to when you feel loved, safe, happy, and free. You see a different view depending on how you feel. And so you will access a different quality of energy as well. It's that positive updraft that will help you make the most powerful choices. So choose well and often when your spirits are high. The time will come when you will be able to take that same action or make a desired change when the situation is more challenging. The muscle of honor consciousness is built with practice and intention. If you are already doing some things for your body, partnering with it in self-honoring ways to build confidence and gratitude, realize there are many more levels of growth and evolution on that rising spiral of well-being. As you practice, you will find through direct experience that there is tremendous territory for improvement, which holds true in each of the 5 areas that I will discuss. The more self-honoring choices you can make, the more consistently you will progress along this path. As you begin to build one self-honoring choice after another, you will gain confidence, energy, and positive feelings, which will move you further up the rising spiral of well-being. At that point, you can look to the other categories, taking your success and positivity into another area of development. For instance, if your eating habits are very successful and these habits make you feel dynamic, vital, and healthy, but you aren't stretching your body or stilling your mind, you might want to start with one of those categories. Just remember, your results are completely dependent on repetition. Your successes will continue to build, and the time will come when you feel you are ready to move on to another and another. Then, once through all 5, begin again, taking each level further up the spiral. Continue building on your own evolution through self-honor, learning to engage your inner self, and rising higher and higher as you hone and refine your ability to be present and choose well. You will soon feel less contrived, more effortless and intentional, and eventually it will become a truly natural creation process. In truth, there is only the journey. There is no destination. What I hope you find comforting is to know there isn't just one goal by which to judge your success or failure. We need to let go of that ideal because the truth is, as you work with each of these 5 areas, you will directly experience positive results as you build your consistency of choosing with self-honor. The repetition builds the habits. What you will also experience is freedom from a lower level of choosing and a promotion of sorts up the rising spiral of health and well-being. There are so many variations in health, and each of us has a somewhat different idea of what, how, and who we believe our best selves to be. As we edge our way closer to the positive partnering that comes from developing honor consciousness, we find we need less to feel we have arrived at a destination, because we have already begun cultivating a sense of integration, intentional wellness, sustainable energy, confidence, and joy. This is the energy that yields a continuation of choosing well. In other words, momentum creates momentum. So it is really important to understand we are working with the subtle gradations of health and well-being, the upward moving spiral. This spiral is continuous and dynamic. Each morning when we wake, we take on that journey in a manner of speaking, slowing down to pause at the completion of that day. We can look at how we chose as our own personal experiment. Did this choice move me outside of myself, or did I turn within? Asking such questions is the way we learn more about our bodies and what they need in order to give us what we need. Every day, then, can become an experiment of sorts, rather than a setup for the fearful unknown or for failure. This can also be what makes life feel hopeful and manageable if we learn it, or aggravating and difficult if we don't. We choose today to intentionally and honorably support this moment and to create a positive setup for what we want to be tomorrow. Each day will represent a step on the journey, another day to experiment, to learn, to grow, and to refine our actions, habits, and life. The more we do, the more sustainable are the qualities and experiences we all long for. We are mapping our way back to alignment, harmony, and wholeness. Eventually, we experience that alchemy where the energy of change becomes more than the sum of its parts. The more you choose self-honor rather than making a self-diminishing choice, the more you will find yourself caring and partnering with your body in the wisest of ways, forging a consistently loving bond. What I have come to understand through direct experience is regarding what really matters in life, there are no shortcuts. Instead, there are beautiful journeys that return one to true self. What I hope you too will learn to embrace is that extraordinary health, along with the right understanding and right action, will indeed create the extraordinary life you long for. And now let's review the contemplation statement. With a new direction, a new world awaits. With a new direction, a new world awaits. Chapter 3, The Spiral of Well-Being. And our contemplation statement for this chapter is this: who we become depends only on our willingness to embrace the changes love requests. One more time. Who we become depends only on our willingness to embrace the changes love requests. Feel free to stop the recording if you'd like to just stay in that moment. All right, Chapter 3, The Spiral of Well-Being. Visualize the coil of a spring. The spring is a spiral that begins at one end and then rises up to the other end. Personal evolution and physical, emotional well-being are all based on this spiral or continuum. It is dynamic. We are always in a state of becoming. That is, we are rising or falling and becoming one thing or the other. I like to think of a spiral as a more evolved version of a circle. We've all heard the old sayings, running in circles, going round and round, and stuck in a rut. These sayings characterize unproductive movement. I like the idea of a spiral being created by something higher than the current conditions, meaning a moment of intelligence or strength that inspires a new way to act or think about something. This little burst of positive energy would be enough to break the bond of the circle and push that broken end just a little further upward. As we continue to choose with self-honor, we continue to expand that line, both upward and outward, which is our natural proclivity. Growing and expanding is a deep desire built into our very nature, our DNA, and we are always happier, more enthusiastic, interested, and eager about life in that empowering energy. That's how we know a choice is truly for us. What often escapes our moment-to-moment awareness is, when it comes to our wellness, we are never standing still. Essentially, in every moment, we are either growing or dying, and the choices we make tilt us in either direction. When it comes to the feeling of being stuck, I have a theory. Have you ever noticed that when you feel that sense of stuckness in your life, that it is incredibly exhausting? Here's my take. In those moments, we are in a face-off. One side represents positive energy and momentum trying to move forward, while the same amount of negative energy and momentum is pushing against it from the opposite side. Two equal energies constantly pushing, resisting each other. Think about that. If you were to stand strong against someone of your equal strength, how long could you keep that going before you felt ready to drop? Sometimes those negative energies can be things out of our control, like other people and circumstances. But many times, it is our own self-pushing, for whatever reason, against us so that we don't allow ourselves to achieve our goals and dreams. This can come from feelings of low self-worth, or just being constantly provoked by old patterns that revolve around self-diminishing beliefs. The proportion of self-honoring versus self-diminishing choices you make will move you either upward or downward on the spiral continuum. We make thousands of choices every single day and have thousands of thoughts each day. Yet, so many of our choices and thoughts are not conscious. Add to that the fact that our lives are coming at us 90 miles an hour. Imagine traveling on a tour bus at that speed. What would you see? Exactly. You are not to blame. This is not about blame. It is about coming to the realization that by using a fresh perspective, we can create evolutionary habit changes in order to deal with life as it is, and teach ourselves to tap into these incredible resources. We don't need to change life itself. We simply need to figure out a new way to engage with it so we can still experience all that we want without feeling defeated by it. This means adjusting the way we view and receive life. We may not always have the power to change what is outside of us. However, we do always have the power to create positive change using what is inside. Our intuition, thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. Using them wisely to promote self-honor, they become our toolbox for resolution and are immensely helpful in creating a state of sustainable peace and dynamic energy. We will move up the spiral of well-being if we can make more self-honoring choices than self-diminishing ones. And we'll move down the spiral if we make too many self-diminishing choices or not enough self-honoring choices. With sincere respect for the thousands of thoughts and choices we make each day, it is easy to lose track of where we are, in quotes, living on the spiral. We all want to let go of stress and exhaustion and live our lives with confidence, joy, and gratitude. This is our natural state of being. And there is an innate and deep longing within each of us for these conditions to be reinstated. Longing for the past or the future won't help. The power is in taking the appropriate action in the present moment. The easiest way to understand this is to realize that when we are steeped in the mental environment of fear and doubt, we will find our choices reflect that type of destructive or self-diminishing energy. That is, we move down the spiral. When we feel confident and peaceful, our choices will reflect a more constructive type of energy, and we move up the spiral once again. The more we can intentionally adjust our state of mind in the direction of peaceful confidence and gratitude, the more we will choose from a higher, more positive aspect. The beauty of this rests in the incredible dynamism of our bodies, as well as our ability to choose. A self-honoring choice feeds the confident, peaceful state, just as feeling confident and peaceful feeds the ability to choose with self-honor. The more we self-honor, the more uplifting energy we have available. The more we choose from this positive aspect, the farther and faster we move up that rising spiral. We gain momentum. The more choices that arise out of criticism, fear, doubt, and stress, the more likely we are to lose momentum and move down the spiral, or remain immobilized by the competing energies of stuckness. Either way, we create an environment in which it becomes impossible to thrive. Spiritual truths suggest that the solution to every problem you could ever encounter is within you. If you have a spiritual or religious background at all, you may have heard, "Anything is possible with God," or some version of this statement. That said, we all have days when such divine support feels very far off, or just plain out of reach. Like, it's a nice sentiment, but it's just not available or happening to us. You might wonder, how can I find a way to close the mental chasm that prevents me from living fully each day with that kind of belief, confidence, and gratitude? Simply begin by creating a new, more honorable connection. One self-honoring choice, which is the path to awaken the forces in you that propel you inward towards the fullness of your intuition as well as your spirituality. Every self-honoring choice you make in your life creates a bit of momentum. The momentum is moving you closer to the truth of who you are by aligning mind and body honorably. This action closes the chasm over time by building positivity and hope through a deeper, more personally refined connection. Therefore, the powerful, dormant forces once blocked by stress and self-diminishment become awakened gently over time, supporting your progress up the spiral of well-being. The more we exercise the self-honoring choice, the more we naturally exorcise the self-diminishing ones. And one more time, let's revisit the contemplation statement for Chapter 3. Who we become depends only on our willingness to embrace the changes love requests. Who we become depends only on our willingness to embrace the changes love requests. Feel free to stop the recording here if you'd like to spend more time just soaking in that statement. Okay, so let's move on. Chapter 4, From Mindless to Meaning. And the contemplation statement here is, living with intention, we awaken deeper meaning. Living with intention, we awaken deeper meaning. Stop the recording if you'd like, and take the time that you need. Okay, Chapter 4, From Mindless to Meaning. Our bodies are response-able. They are alive and constantly adjusting to the environment, circumstances, temperature, humidity, and to everything we eat, think, emote, and experience. Either they can rise to the occasion or they can't, due to the myriad of choices we have made and where we are currently on the spiral of well-being. We have established that the body is in a constant state of dynamism. That dynamism is the very reason you can't get away with just making one good choice and be done. It's not a one-and-done job. If we say the body is like a baby, realize you can't walk very far away from a baby when it's awake. Maybe you can when it's asleep, but sometimes you can't even walk away then, especially if the baby's not happy. It will wake you up, just like your body will wake you up. If you aren't taking care of your digestion, you might be waking up in the middle of the night with cramps or gas. Or maybe you have aches and pains from not stretching or moving your body properly. You feel stiff and achy. These are what require our attention. Being in constant pain not only gets in the way of our successes, but also gets in the way of enjoying a meaningful life. It is a negative distraction that can compromise our sleep, our moods, and our abilities. These results are born of our less conscious, self-diminishing choices. The energy that is driving the desire to succeed and live meaningfully is pure, even though we often push ourselves beyond our current capacity. There is a heightened intelligence behind this energy, pushing us to create a more deeply satisfying life. We know we can do more, but the sticking point comes when we are making so many unintentional and self-diminishing choices that we dysregulate the natural capacity of the body. Then we become the problem that stands in the way of our own selves doing, being, achieving, and receiving the things we truly want. Remember, a happy, healthy, intentional life means the things we are doing, being, receiving, and achieving must have deeper meaning. So much of the time we are busy getting things done for the sake of crossing it off the list, and often there isn't a great deal of meaning beyond it. People need meaning. The power of self-honoring choices is they increase both meaning and connection in our lives. Meaning gets us up on the days when we'd rather sleep in and carries us over the little inconveniences of life with little residue. We feel stronger, freer, more constructive, and productive. As we grow these qualities, our state of mind then carries the confidence, peace, and clarity to support us in ever greater ways. As we choose with self-honor, we strengthen the mind-body connection and increase our optimism and positive momentum. We increase the inner brightness of the intellect and awaken compassion at the heart. We connect body and mind together once again with each choice, dissolving just a little more of the old rust, refreshing the connections. When we embolden the channels of communication between body and mind, we automatically streamline our thinking. Our actions also become empowered with more confidence, peace, and clarity. That type of energy grows because in that space, every choice becomes more intentional and supportive. The beauty of this is we can start anywhere in our life to develop honor consciousness. The more honorably we choose for ourselves, the more honorably we can choose. The better we feel, and the more clear that structure gets, the more we are supporting our ability to grow into beings that move through life with peace, plenty of energy, and an abundance of resources. We begin to experience in our bodies and minds a powerful, optimistic partnership that comes alive with resources of all sorts. And once again, we begin to feel more embodied and at home in our own lives. Yes, some discomfort may well be necessary as you move out of the ruts of old choices and the familiar. Remember, our most helpful choices may not always feel pleasant, but meaning will get you across the finish line. That said, discovering your autonomy needn't ever include hurting yourself on any level. It simply requires choosing at the highest degree available to you in a given moment, which honors both yourself and your noble self. When you do so, your becoming enables the sweet spot of sovereignty to be awakened. Here you will experience the feeling of both meaning and great satisfaction when you don't allow the things that really don't matter to get in the way of the things that really do. And now let's revisit our contemplation statement. Living with intention, we awaken deeper meaning. Living with intention, we awaken deeper meaning. Thank you for joining me today on the second installation of It's Time for a U-Turn, how self-honoring choices take you from stressed and exhausted to peaceful and energized. Join me again for our next installation. Thank you for listening.